We're looking forward to hearing more about the Africa Data Center and the achievements that have been there. So karibu sana. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Considering the time pressures that I see all of us having, I'm really going to try and make my presentation as short as possible. But be as it may, thanks for the introduction. We as Africa Data Centers, we are proud of what you have enabled us to do, which is really to take that leading position in Kenya and in Eastern Africa as your preferred data center services provider. That's the main reason why we're in this event today. We really just want to make sure that we are having a chance to knowledge share with you, get feedback from you as our customers and potential partners for that matter, so that we can continuously find ways and means of scaling up, not only as Africa Data Centers, but really as one of the strong data center operators in the continent. So yes, we've had a myriad of firsts. We started business way back in 2012. So really, as a data center operator, we are celebrating our 10th year in the data center space. And we've done this, I will say, with a lot of success. One being, we've been able to really meet our customers' expectations in terms of the security that they need, the availability requirements that they have, and most importantly as well, positioning the data center to be a carrier-neutral entity that then allows our customers to get connectivity services from the diverse network operators that we have in our facility. To date, we talk of over 40 network service providers or peering partners existing in our data center facility in Nairobi. Sorry, I'm trying to buy time because I've been told that they're queuing the presentation, so thanks a lot, but that's also giving me a chance to as well maybe mention something that is specific to that which we are doing as a data center operator. Where exactly are we going today? So while we take prime position today and host the biggest of financial institutions based on the enterprise market, our next frontier really is to make sure that we are now hosting the hyperscalers. When we talk hyperscalers, we are talking about the cloud service providers. And that's one of the main reasons why we saw it worthwhile to attend this event today. We have a stand right outside, so I've got my colleagues, feel free to pass by and get a few information relating to what exactly is ADC doing. We want to make sure that we change the narrative. We don't want to have a situation where data centers or data as it is, which is the key ingredient for data centers, when we ask the question, where exactly does it sit? Where exactly do we have the processing happening? Then Africa becomes a consumer of data centers or data or cloud services outside of the continent. What we are trying to do is to tilt that balance and make sure that Africa as well is positioned to be a supplier of data centers. We would like to have a situation where if Google needed data center resources, then they also see Africa as another option for which they can then have their data assets running from or stored. We would like to have a situation where Microsoft grows even further. Right now, we notice that they've got cloud footprints in Southern Africa. We want to make sure that they can as well come to the eastern part of Africa and other regions as well. Sorry, are we doing good with it? Okay, fine. So that is really what we are doing as a data center operator. So today, in terms of scale, yes, we've got about 4 megawatts of data center service, of data center capacity, but we are going to grow that to up to about 20 megawatts of data center capacity. And that is basically to make sure that we've got capacity for the cloud service providers that we are talking about. I've been tasked to have a conversation with everyone today around how do we deliver services and value through the cloud. I will say we've come from a pandemic, be as it may, we are still within it, but everyone today talks about the COVID accelerant. COVID has really pushed us hard to make sure that if businesses weren't already transformed digitally, then what they have to do is to get transformed forcefully. So the likes of Microsoft actually noted a 700% jump in their cloud-based services consumption during the COVID period. That in turn means a lot of consumption to data center resources, like what we have as Africa Data Centers. So really, cloud computing has become critical for all businesses, and all businesses are now today talking of agility, adaptability, and scalability, all which are the key ingredients for a cloud-based solution. In every organization today, there is, like I've just said, you must be ready to change, or you will have a situation where you actually have to then adapt to a changed environment. So we must be innovative today. And the innovation must either stem from us thinking of new products, or alternatively, we have to think of how else can we run the business in a digitally efficient manner, or in an efficient manner, all the same. I already touched on how cloud services have been consumed when I talked about, for an example, the Microsoft jump from about 700% in terms of their cloud-based solutions. What we're actually seeing in terms of how exactly are customers deploying or migrating to the cloud, it's actually based on 3 dimensions. We have those that are adopting full private cloud solutions. We have those that are adopting a hybrid, which is a hybrid of a private and a public cloud. And we also have those that actually business informs them that it's worth it for them to go for a full public cloud deployment. How do these 3 narrations that I've just mentioned come to play in a technical manner? So technically, the very first column that you see, we talk about the private front. So on that private front, it will actually mean yourselves or ourselves as an organization having your public infrastructure privately owned within your premises, in which case then you also take responsibility for the security services and cybersecurity framework that you need to have in place as well. So both your customers and your employees will be making use of your private infrastructure, which is within your data center. We've also talked of the hybrid, and the hybrid talks about having 2 cloud infrastructure bases. One will be private, and the other will be on the public side. And it's all dependent on the organization's preferences. So you might have that service, you might have that data that you are comfortable running in the public space. You will then have it uploaded on the public cloud infrastructure. You will have that which you feel your data governance requirement or security requirement requires you to have a lot more control and visibility on where that data sits. So you will have that sitting within your private infrastructure. In both cases, you must have a network that is either going to connect to your private infrastructure or the public cloud infrastructure that we talked about. The third one, which is really a mix of both, is really now having both your private and public cloud infrastructure, but in which case you want to leverage on a third party offering you security services. So you will have your data assets sitting in a private infrastructure and some sitting in the public space, but you will also want to have a third eye helping you in terms of looking at your security infrastructure, helping you with the vulnerability tests. It's always good to have a third eye overseeing or playing an oversight role in terms of what your cloud infrastructure or your security infrastructure looks like. The main players we have in the market. So the main players that we have in the market when we talk cloud infrastructure, the big names as per the last Gartner report we had last year. So we've got AWS, Microsoft, and Google on the leading scale, but we also have the other players that are also doing quite well. So what will make you go to a particular cloud service provider? You must ask yourself how the application that you want to upload to the cloud service provider is going to be secured. You must ask yourself how frequently you're going to be wanting to access that data. You must ask yourself whether there's really a risk for you migrating data or that application to the cloud space. You must also assess the costs of a full cloud migration. At times we say that it could be cost effective going the cloud route, but that is all dependent on what model are you actually going to apply, and really again, what types of workloads or what amount of data are you going to upload on the cloud. So these might at times make your costs really outrun what you had earlier on thought of. In terms of cloud offering value again, we talk of its scalability, and really the other thing again, yes, so this is something that I also wanted to touch on, that while we talk about scalability, as has been mentioned, it's not really true that you will be agile just by adopting cloud or by moving your services to the cloud. You must really rethink and have your organization and the teams that are working within the organization also align to the agility requirements that you want. I hold the belief that there's nothing that's going to beat a well-oiled human resource team. In as much as you can talk of the scalability and the agility that you can get from the cloud side, it is also very imperative on us to make sure that the teams that we have in our organizations are also working to the same kind of speed, I would say. So moving to the cloud in itself is an event. It's not an end. It's not an end to you being digitally transformed. When it comes to the public cloud, I already mentioned which are those top cloud service providers that we have globally. That's based on Gartner. But I will say in terms of the private cloud service providers, we talk about the Kenyan space or the East African space. We also have those that are doing quite well in terms of having automated cloud services. As data center providers, where do we stand in terms of these cloud service providers? We call them hyperscalers. So we are working with all these hyperscalers to try and see to it that they can bring their services a lot closer to the end user. In this case, when we talk about the East African market, our interest is to make sure that these hyperscalers see to it that they can actually deploy cloud footprints that can serve the East African market from Kenya. We understand as well that these hyperscalers are quite keen to make sure that they are only operating in environmentally sustainable environments. So as a data center operator, we have to be cost conscious. So our biggest cost element is on power. So we try the much we can to make sure that there's green energy, energy supply in our data center spaces. And this helps us to just make sure that we are reducing, if not managing, our costs. I spoke about the modernization for cloud. Just like I said, moving to the cloud, the message really was, let's not look at that as what it then takes to position yourself or to call yourself as being digitally transformed. You must make sure that you can actually identify the value that you're getting by way of you having moved or migrated to the cloud. So this value in itself, you must ask yourself whether by moving to the cloud, has it helped in terms of accelerating how you're doing your business? Does it help in terms of maximizing your developer productivity? Has it helped in terms of creating or improving efficiency within the organization? And last but not least, has it helped in terms of you achieving compliance and security requirements as an organization? So that is it. Cloud is a catalyst for innovation and growth, but let's not look at that as being the ultimate catalyst for innovation and growth on its own. We must make sure that we have staff and we have the staff in place, we got the right processes as well to help us make sure that we are deriving value from the cloud. I noticed that the next session is going to be a panel session on data ops. So I will just want to relate one point from my cloud presentation on the subject of data ops, which is really just rolling back to the various cloud flavors that we talked about. When we talk about the hybrid option, we at times want to have our data sitting on the public cloud or sitting in the private cloud. But why would you want to have your data sitting in the private versus the public cloud? I want to believe that's going to be one of the discussion items that we will have in our data ops session. That's really it from my end. Thank you.